You're likely familiar with the social media site TikTok, known for its goofy dance videos, absurd challenges, and just insane level of success. You may also be aware of the recent criticism TikTok has faced, along with other social media sites, for the diminishing mental health of teens. But unlike its competition, lawmakers in Washington are pushing strongly for the app to be banned. But what makes TikTok different from any other social media site? And why is something so apparently innocent seen as such a threat? What is the history of TikTok bans? And is dismantling an entire platform of free speech even constitutional? What impact will this have on millions of creators, as well as the future of social media for decades to come? Our story begins with two apps of very different backgrounds. The first, called Douyin, is owned by tech company Byte Dance and is only available in China, where it has seen moderate success. The next, called Musical.ly, is one you might already be familiar with. It was a big deal a few years back, and in a lot of ways was similar to the TikTok we know today. Short, less than a minute videos, allowing users to lip sync to popular lyrics, record dances, or use a variety of other sounds from a vast library of selections. Unlike Douyin, Musical.ly was incredibly successful in big markets like the United States, and had over 100 million users worldwide, likely making it all the more attractive. In August of 2018, ByteDance purchases Musical.ly for an estimated $800 million, and the two apps merge into a single platform. That summer, Musical.ly users updated their app to find that it now had a new name and new branding. Though not much else had changed, it was at this moment that TikTok was born. They must have liked it though, because in less than a year, TikTok was surpassing in downloads some of the biggest names in the industry, like Snapchat, YouTube, Instagram, even Facebook. And by early 2019, the app had over 1 billion downloads. But the real explosion for TikTok wouldn't come until 2020, when the entire world shut down. With the COVID-19 pandemic raging, adults are out of jobs, kids are out of school, and generally everyone is stuck at home with nothing else to do. With that, social media sites gained more traction than any time before, and at the top of that podium is none other than TikTok. Kids hop on trends from their bedrooms, influencers like Charli D'Amelio become stars, even nurses and doctors share their point of view as they battle this daunting illness. In 2020 alone, TikTok was downloaded more than 800 million times, and more than 450 million people use the app every day. 2020 and COVID-19 kind of made TikTok, not that it wasn't popular already. The app really gave people a connection to the outside world, and for many, gave them a place to express their fears and uncertainty at such a difficult time. But all this success and so-called good TikTok was doing by connecting people didn't come without controversy. While all this is happening, TikTok's ownership, which I briefly mentioned, starts to take more of a spotlight, especially by the US government. ByteDance, TikTok's parent company, is headquartered in Beijing, and as the trade war between the US and China dragged on, and their relationship continued to crumble, this became more of a concern. As the year progressed, more and more reports came out exposing the app's major security issues, as well as drawing attention to China's shady data laws, saying that companies must hand over all information that the government asks for. With over 60 million Americans on the platform, these reports were extremely worrisome. So worrisome, in fact, that a potential TikTok ban started being hinted at by members of Trump's administration. It's important to note that at this time, the US wasn't the only country doing this. That late June, India suspended TikTok along with several other Chinese apps over a military standoff between the two. In September, then President Donald Trump expressed national security concerns over China's owner ByteDance and threatened to ban the app unless it was sold to an American company. However, after months of hopeful talks between American tech giant Microsoft and China's ByteDance, the deal eventually fell through. So in December, Trump went through with this threat, passing an executive order to ban the app in all 50 states. But the court shot down this order, saying that Trump had, quote, overstepped his power as president, and the app was allowed to continue flourishing. Almost 3 years later, we're seeing a very similar situation to what we saw in 2020. Late last year, Byte already passed an executive order to ban the app on all government devices. And unlike 3 years ago, there seems to be heavier bipartisan support for a nationwide ban. With the relationship between the US and China at an all-time low in recent memory, the fear around TikTok has truly reached a new height. But what are the actual concerns around TikTok? And does the evidence justify those concerns? In the minds of Congress, there are two main fear factors. Just by signing into TikTok, you are giving the app several pieces of data. For example, your name, phone number, birthday, and up until about a year ago, even your precise GPS location. This was most famously used in December of 2022, when Byte Dance employees were caught spying on 2 American journalists by using their IP address from the app. This feature was removed shortly after. But the most crucial piece of data doesn't come from them knowing your phone number, birthday, or even full name. No, the most crucial piece of data is what is found by their algorithm. And if you're an avid user of the app, you know it can suck you in for hours. Every tap, every scroll, every like, dislike, follow, every second of watching or not watching is tracked closely by a precise algorithm, constantly fine-tuning its selection of content. And every piece of that data is invaluable. In just a few years, that algorithm has gotten to know the likes, dislikes, interests, habits, and general information of millions of people around the globe. Within those millions are millions of Americans, and there's a real concern that if the Chinese government ever wanted that data, they could get it. Or maybe they already have it. TikTok has trillions of data points, and one can only imagine how they could be used. It's at least worth mentioning that when he testified before Congress, Byte Dance CEO Xiao Zi reaffirmed his company's commitment to keeping TikTok as a place of political neutrality.
Number 3, TikTok will remain a place for free expression and will not be manipulated by any government.
Affirming that the government had never asked TikTok for data, and if they did, they wouldn't be given any. That's great and all, but TikTok falls under Chinese Communist Party laws, saying that their top priority isn't the customer or their board of directors, but the party itself. Also stating that they are legally required to give any information that the government wants. To me, this seems like a classic case of don't listen to what they tell you, watch what they do. This leads us to our second concern, which is actually part of a much larger problem, and that's that a lot of Americans have lost faith in mainstream news sources. It is estimated that more than a third of Americans get their news from social media, and that number is likely only going to grow. As big-name news sources have become more partisan, many have looked elsewhere to get their news, often from unreliable places found on social media. This new age of media makes TikTok a prime source for propaganda to potentially influence the American psyche. For example, just last year, we saw countless Russian influencers going on sites like TikTok and defending their country's invasion of Ukraine. Who says that we couldn't see something similar if China invades Taiwan? Their algorithm allows them to influence the videos we see, the videos that educate us, and the videos that change how we view the world. That is real power. While I've shown a very one-sided view of this issue, because it is pretty bipartisan, it's important to note that not everyone is on board. To be fair, TikTok has been extremely beneficial to thousands of creators and companies. TikTok's algorithm has allowed for many otherwise unknown individuals to go stupid viral, and has been a great platform for businesses to promote and sell both their products and brand. I think that there are many communities and creators on the app that simply could not exist on other platforms. What would dismantling TikTok do to those people, those businesses, those communities? I don't know. But certainly, at least in the short term, it would not be good. People make money on TikTok. For some, it is their entire livelihood. So I can certainly understand why they'd be upset when that is suddenly taken away from them. Just last month, Byte Dance paid for over 30 creators to fly out to DC and protest the ban at the Capitol. These protesters gained support from a number of members of Congress, most notably Representative Jamal Brown of New York. All of them testified to the fact that TikTok had been pivotal in the success of their business. But the next objection isn't so much about what TikTok has done, it's about what TikTok is, and that's a platform for free speech. Free speech in America has been a widely discussed topic in recent years. There are countless questions and disagreements about what should be covered by free speech, when free speech can go too far, and is it in the government's place to censor it? This might be the most damaging case against the TikTok ban, and is the reason many believe it will ultimately fail. The First Amendment is something that is rarely successfully tested. When the banning of a creator or community is controversial, the banning of millions seems nearly impossible. Additionally, opponents fear that banning a site like TikTok could create a pathway for other social media sites to be taken down. For example, if they don't fall in line with government censorship. The problem isn't so much about censorship as it is about national security. But again, these are uncharted waters. All it takes is one for more to follow. But no matter what your opinion is on the ban, or your view of any of the other topics I just discussed, I think that there's another train of thought on this that maybe isn't getting as much attention as it deserves. And that is that TikTok is a mid-sized part of a much wider issue concerning data privacy across the entire internet. Sure, an American adversary like China might be accessing data from TikTok for nefarious purposes, but that certainly isn't unique to just them. The fact is that almost every social media site on the internet is collecting your data, not just for their algorithm, but to sell it to data brokers who then pass on that information to companies and countries, including foreign adversaries such as China. Your data is like gold, and with the current laws in place, they are allowed to sell that data to whoever they want. And that's my point. This isn't just an issue with TikTok. It's an issue with all of social media, as well as the entire internet. Data is unsecure, allowed to be bought and sold. And other than the privacy waiver I'm sure you read, without your consent or even knowledge. This is a much larger issue than I even just discussed, and it honestly might be worth its own video. But it's important to know that on many of these websites, you're not the customer, you're the product. There are people and organizations willing to pay ridiculous amounts of money to have access to your identity. So please be careful. This would be a great time for a VPN ad. I could see things going either way with a ban. And honestly, there are valid arguments for both decisions. But I'd like to know what you think. Do you think that a TikTok ban is necessary and/or constitutional? Are you afraid of Chinese owner Byte Dance or of the precedent that banning an entire platform could create? How do you think this will affect millions of creators and hundreds of thousands of online communities? Do you think that TikTok is an isolated issue, or is it just the surface of a much larger problem?